In 1968, there was a movie that came out by the name of Rosemary's Baby. Now, this was a Roman Polanski movie, and this movie depicted a young lady who lived in a place that we call the Dakota House in New York City. The Dakota House was a famous place where a lot of famous artists lived there, and some had came to unfortunate demises at this place here. John Lennon, he was unalived right outside of this building. This is where he lived. Now, in the movie Rosemary's Baby, they were supposed to be acting as if this was the year 1965. The movie came out in 1968, but they were acting as if it was 1965 in the movie. Now, during the movie, they were performing this thing that they would call a necromancy. Now, a necromancy is supposed to be the resurrection of some sort of evil. Believe me, I do not know anything about this here. I'm just going by what I've read over the years. I don't know if any of this is true. Now, during the necromancy, when they had the altar, when I say the altar, I'm talking about the female person. The female person became the altar at that moment, and they were having multiple relations with her. But they showed a scene where the Pope came walking in, and as he came in, when it was his turn to approach the altar, he transformed into a reptilian. This is the movie. Go back and watch the movie. Now, she thought she was dreaming. And then when she realized that this was a real reptilian, she was like, oh no, this isn't a dream. Now, as I said, this occurred in 1965. This was the setting of the movie. But it just so happens that in 1965, October the 4th, the Pope gave a speech at Yankee Stadium. Like I said, I don't know anything. But the Pope gave a speech at Yankee Stadium. And then 13 years later, the Pope returned and gave a speech at Central Park, right across the street from the Dakota House. I'm just saying. Now, remember, I said the Pope transformed into a reptilian. Now, what if there is a link between the reptilian and the so-called vampire? Hey, yo, peace. This is your man, L. Judge, coming right back at you with some of that real talk real fast. Now, if you can, make sure you hit like, leave a comment, hit repost. It helps your boy out. It truly does. Now, with this video right here, you're going to find out why I have such low ratings, and then you're going to understand why I am one of the most dangerous people online. And I'm not even telling the truth. I'm openly just telling you that I don't know. I don't believe any of this stuff, and I'm not asking you to believe any of it. Hemophilia is a thing when the body doesn't produce hemoglobin and it refuses to clot in order to stop a person from bleeding. Now, reptiles, they have the same process of clotting blood, but humans, we have more like plates that stack on top of one another that would stop the bleeding. But reptiles, they have something different that would not work in the human body. Now, if a human was to mix with a reptilian being, one who still has the genetics of a reptile, there's a good chance that in some cases, they wouldn't be able to produce the proper clotting process, and they would end up with hemophiliaism. Got that? Now, let's go back in time. See, there used to be a time when we didn't have syringes. Syringes and the ability to do blood transfers, that didn't come around till the 1850s. But prior to that, what were people doing? They were drinking the blood. This was a survival mechanism for those who had this this illness, if you would want to call it that, or this defect. Now, peep game. Queen Victoria, who reigned from 1837 to 1901, her family had the trait of hemophilism. They were hemophiliacs. Now, as I said, they didn't come up with syringes and doing blood transfers until 1850s. So what was they doing in their bloodlines? And these are the different houses. Russia, Germany, Spain. These are the different houses in which she mixed her blood within. Now I'm just saying, what if we have a group of people that walk the earth who have reptilian genetics within them, which doesn't allow them to clot, and they would need more blood? I just think shortly after 1850, in 1865, the Red Cross came into existence. Now, the Red Cross, it served dual purposes. One of the purposes was to make sure that the soldiers who were wounded, that they had medical aid. And if blood transfusions were needed, they would have a supply. But the darker side of it, just saying, what if the darker side was that they were providing blood to people who suffer from these genetics, to people who are in these bloodlines? And what if these bloodlines were to cross or inbreed with themselves? And this thing would never heal. And maybe some people may look upon that as a royal mark. Those who are of the blood line. I'm just saying, I'm not saying that any of this is true. I'm just saying that this is just something to think about. People of the royal bloodline who dabble in the blood for medical purposes, for a reason of survival. I don't know. Tell me, what do you think? And tell me if I should go a little bit further. Tell me if I should give you the information about the birth of the reptilian